3 days ago, a video went viral that had every single Cincinnati Bengals fan reaching for their heart medication. Not a trade rumor, not an injury report, not a leaked locker room story or a behind-the-scenes drama or an anonymous source dropping bombshells about the franchise's direction. Just a video. A few seconds of footage from a flag football game in Los Angeles. And in that footage, moving with the kind of loose, reckless, completely unguarded athletic freedom that only someone who has temporarily forgotten they are a $55 million per year NFL quarterback can move with, Joe Burrow went down hard, taken out below the knees, crashing to the turf in a flag football game that was supposed to be a fun celebrity showcase. And the reaction from Bengals fans watching that clip was immediate, visceral, and absolutely unambiguous. If I am a Bengals fan, I am having a stroke watching Joe Burrow in this game. That was not a dramatic exaggeration posted by one overwrought fan. That was the consensus reaction, the unified, terrified, completely understandable response of a fan base that has watched their quarterback get hurt enough times, a torn ACL in 2020, a calf strain in 2022, a wrist injury that limited his 2023 season, a toe injury that cost him 8 games in 2025, that the sight of him taking any kind of physical contact in any context whatsoever triggers an immediate full-body anxiety response. And the flag football moment was just the beginning, because the more the football world looked at everything Joe Burrow has been doing in the last 3 weeks, the Oscars parties, the celebrity sightings, the Olympics declaration, the flag football intensity, the trade rumors swirling in the background, the more the picture that formed was one of a quarterback who is living his best life off the field, while the situation on the field grows more complicated, more concerning, and more urgent with every passing day. And today, March 24th, 2026, all of it is crashing together into a story that has the entire NFL paying attention. So let's go through every single piece of it, because the Joe Burrow situation in Cincinnati right now is more layered, more fascinating, and more genuinely alarming for the Bengals fan base than any individual headline suggests. And when you put it all together, the flag football moment, the Olympics announcement, the dating rumors, the trade speculation, the Bengals' failure to protect him, the arrival of Max Crosby in the division, you get a picture of one of the NFL's most talented quarterbacks at a crossroads that could define the rest of his career. Let's start with the flag football game, because this is the moment that put everything else in motion. On March 21st, 2026, Joe Burrow captained Team Wildcats FFC at the Fanatics Flag Football Classic in Los Angeles, and he was not playing casually. He was not jogging through routes and tossing the ball around with the kind of controlled, quarterback-friendly intensity that franchise organizations typically demand from their $55 million per year signal callers at off-season events. He was competing fully, completely, with the same ferocious, uncompromising intensity that defines him on Sunday afternoons in September and October when his offensive line is giving ground and the defense is loading the box and the game is on the line. At one specific, terrifying moment, Burrow attempted to make a catch when he was taken out below the knees by an opposing defender, a fairly high-speed collision that had Bengals fans around the country audibly gasping. Heavy sports. The clip spread everywhere within hours. Ben Standig, a prominent NFL reporter, posted it with the caption, "This is nuts." Justin Peanick wrote, "If I am a Bengals fan, I am having a stroke watching Joe Burrow in this game." Heavy sports. And those reactions were not just casual social media commentary. They reflected a real, legitimate, historically grounded concern about what happens when the player carrying your franchise's entire championship window takes an unnecessary hit in a flag football exhibition. Because Burrow's injury history is not a minor footnote. It is a defining feature of his career, a recurring vulnerability that has limited him in multiple seasons, and that in 2025 cost him 8 games with a toe injury that derailed what had been shaping up as a potential MVP-caliber season. The Bengals cannot afford another injury to this quarterback. The AFC North cannot be won without this quarterback healthy for 17 games. And watching him crash to the turf in Los Angeles, competing with the same fire that makes him great and the same recklessness that makes his medical staff nervous, put everyone on red alert. Considering Burrow has a history of injuries, it is a bit of a surprise the team let him participate. The event also featured Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, and Gronkowski suffered a pulled hamstring during the game and was unable to continue. Heavy sports. Gronkowski pulled hamstring at a flag football event, and Gronk is retired. He does not have a $55 million contract riding on his physical health. He does not have a franchise's Super Bowl window dependent on his availability every Sunday. If Rob Gronkowski, whose career is already over, can pull a hamstring at a flag football game, then the anxiety about Joe Burrow taking hits at the same event is not paranoia, it is mathematics.
But the flag football moment, as alarming as it was, is actually the least consequential piece of what is happening with Joe Burrow right now. Because the bigger story, the one that has been building for months and that exploded into full public view in the last 3 weeks, is about what Burrow's off-season behavior tells you about where his head is, about what his life outside of Cincinnati reveals about his relationship with the organization that is supposed to be building a championship around him, about whether the most charismatic, most stylish, most culturally omnipresent quarterback in the NFL is genuinely all in on the Bengals, or whether he is enjoying a level of personal freedom and off-season liberation that suggests a man who has mentally started to separate himself from a situation that is not working the way he thought it would. Let's talk about the Oscars, because this is where the off-season Joe Burrow story really started going viral in a completely different direction. Burrow appeared at a Vanity Fair Oscars after-party in late February, Hollywood's most exclusive post-awards celebration, the one that attracts the most famous people in entertainment. He was photographed leaving with a group that included influencer and media personality Alex Earle, musician Tate McRae, and others. The photos circulated immediately, and the internet went into full speculation mode about Burrow's social life. And then Tom Brady, who is simultaneously one of Burrow's biggest admirers and one of his most mischievous tormentors, the way only a man with 7 Super Bowl rings and absolutely nothing left to prove can be, seized the moment at the flag football draft ceremony. Brady joked on stage, "That's what they called Joe the other night at those Oscar parties, Wildcat. At least he's here, no fashion shows to attend to." The crowd roared, Burrow laughed, and the entire football world was reminded that the Cincinnati Bengals quarterback had become one of the most talked about, most photographed, most gossiped about athletes in the country, not just for what he does on a football field, but for who he is becoming as a cultural figure off it. That comfort, that unshakable ease with celebrity, with fame, with the off-field persona he has built, is actually one of the most interesting things about Burrow as a person. He is not performing for the cameras. He is not carefully curating an image designed to maximize endorsement value. He is genuinely living his life, going to parties, attending concerts, hanging out with celebrities, buying extraordinarily expensive cars. T. Higgins revealed that Burrow recently purchased a custom Mansouri vehicle worth over $700,000. $700,000 for a car. Because when you are making $55 million a year and you are 28 years old and you are one of the most famous athletes in America, you can. And then came the Jessica Alba moment, the one that sent the rumor mill into overdrive. Burrow was spotted at a casino in Las Vegas, photographed sitting next to actress and businesswoman Jessica Alba at a table game. The photos started circulating immediately, and the dating speculation was.
Cowherd's co-host John Middlecoff went even further. He said he could see the LA Rams, Sean McVay's brilliant offensive mind, Matthew Stafford aging out, making a trade for Burrow next offseason, trading 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, 3 third-round picks, whatever it takes. Because Burrow, in McVay's system in Los Angeles, surrounded by the kind of organizational excellence the Rams demonstrated when they won the Super Bowl, that is a scenario that makes the football world stop and stare. Heavy sports. But wait, because now we get to the announcement that actually shook the entire fan base on a completely different level. The one that had nothing to do with dating rumors or expensive cars or Oscars parties. The one that was made publicly, clearly, with complete conviction, and that has been ricocheting around the sports world ever since.
On March 20th, 2026, during an appearance in Los Angeles ahead of the Fanatics Flag Football Classic, Joe Burrow made a declaration that immediately became one of the most talked-about athlete statements of the year. Joe Burrow wants to play in the 2028 Olympics. He wants to be Team USA's flag football quarterback when flag football makes its Olympic debut in Los Angeles in 2 years.
Trey Hendrickson just signed a 4-year, $112 million deal with the Baltimore Ravens, not with Cincinnati, with Baltimore. The best defensive player from the Bengals' most recent roster gone to a division rival. The AFC North is getting harder, not easier. And the Bengals' response to that reality has been, by most accounts, underwhelming. Think about what that means for Joe Burrow's 2026 season. He is coming back from a toe injury. His offensive line protection, which was already a major concern, has not been significantly upgraded, and now he faces a division that has Myles Garrett in Cleveland, T.J. Watt in Pittsburgh, and Max Crosby, who just signed with Baltimore, all coming for him twice each during the regular season. Joe Burrow might want to start worrying about the 2026 season right about now. Because in the brutal battleground of the AFC North, he won't just have to face off twice each against pass rush nightmares T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett. Now there's another wrecking ball entering the mix, Max Crosby. That is a trio of quarterback hunters ready to turn Sundays into survival mode for Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. T.J. Watt, Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, 3 of the best defensive players in football, all in the same division, all coming for the same quarterback, twice each, in a 16-game stretch between September and January that will determine whether the Cincinnati Bengals are relevant in 2026. And the Bengals' response to that defensive gauntlet has been, based on the evidence available right now, insufficient. The Cincinnati Bengals have yet to make major upgrades to the defense or the offensive line that is expected to better protect their franchise quarterback. And that has again fueled trade speculation. No major defensive additions, no significant offensive line investment. The franchise that has one of the 3 most talented quarterbacks in football is entering 2026 with a roster that analysts believe is structurally limited in ways that will prevent the team from maximizing what Burrow gives them every Sunday. And Joe Burrow? Joe Burrow is going to Oscars parties. He is talking about Olympic gold medals. He is playing flag football with the same competitive ferocity he brings to AFC North games in December. He is buying $700,000 cars. He is living a life that is genuinely extraordinary, charmed and stylish and culturally omnipresent in ways that few athletes at any point in sports history have managed to be. And underneath all of it, underneath the celebrity sightings and the Brady jokes and the Olympics declaration and the flag football collision that gave Bengals fans heart attacks, there is a 28-year-old quarterback from Athens, Ohio, who grew up loving the Cincinnati Bengals, who came home to Ohio State and turned the Buckeyes into national champions, who then went to LSU and won the Heisman and the national title and became one of the most iconic players in college football history before arriving in Cincinnati as the first overall pick and leading the Bengals to a Super Bowl appearance in just his second professional season. That player wants to be great, wants to win, wants the Super Bowl he got so close to in 2022 and has been chasing ever since. And the only question, the one that the flag football moment and the Olympics announcement and the celebrity offseason and the trade rumors all circle around in their own separate ways, is whether Cincinnati gives him the environment where that championship happens.
The fans are on red alert for 100 different reasons. The collision in Los Angeles that made everyone hold their breath. The Olympics announcement that raises questions about injury risk 2 years from now. The organizational concerns about whether Cincinnati is building a roster worthy of their quarterback's talent. The trade speculation that refuses to die. The division getting harder as Baltimore adds Max Crosby to a pass rush that already featured T.J. Watt in Pittsburgh and Myles Garrett in Cleveland. Joe Burrow shocked everyone this week, not with one move, with a dozen of them. each one revealing a different facet of who he is: the competitor, the celebrity, the dreamer, the franchise quarterback, the young man enjoying his life with a freedom and an energy that is impossible not to admire, even as it generates perfectly reasonable anxiety from the people who need him healthy and focused and delivering in September. The 2026 season is 4 days away for the rest of baseball and 5 months away for the NFL. And somewhere in Los Angeles or Las Vegas or at a party that has not been announced yet, Joe Burrow is living his life with the kind of magnificent, unself-conscious intensity that makes him both the most exciting and the most nerve-wracking player in football. And for the Cincinnati Bengals and their fans who are very much on red alert, the question that has always been the question remains exactly the same. Can you build a championship around this player before his patience runs out, before the injuries add up, before the trade proposals stop being speculative and start being real? The clock is ticking, and Joe Burrow, Olympic dreamer, flag football warrior, celebrity of the moment, and still the most talented quarterback in the AFC North, is not waiting for anyone.